Joel Embiid got paid. He got a 4-year, $49 million per season extension from the Philadelphia 76ers. And I'm just like, are you high? There's no and maybe this is the thing that we have to talk about. Obviously, for you and I, me and you and whatever I versus me is, when I'm picking up trash on the street, I'm not making $49 million a year. I understand that professional sports is cartoon country. It's not real money, right? But $49 million a year, and you still have not traded Ben Simmons. It seems, A, little early, and B, much to the Sofa Surfer's point, Joel Embiid is seemingly always missing games, Jake. Would you have paid him $49 million per season?
I think I wouldn't have liked to pay him this money, but they don't really have a choice. What are they going to do? Not pay him and let him go to another team? Are they going to ruin that situation too? Are they going to completely blow up the organization and start over? I mean, you don't have a choice, you at some point you have to pay guys to perform for you, just like the Jazz paid Mike Conley. This is the same situation, just less money. For Mike. It's one of these things where every NBA organization who's worth a damn has to have a guy that's the centerpiece, has to have a guy that they can kind of build the team around. And Ben Simmons definitely is not that guy. So that would then default to Joel Embiid 100% being that guy, even though the guy misses games all the time. So, yeah, it is kind of amazing to me that he's getting this, max contract extension, even though he's missing games and even though he couldn't get the job done, you're talking about a team. What did they blow? They lost. What they lose? I think they lost to the Hawks in 7 this past year, I believe it was. So that they went into that series as favorites, and they should have won that series and didn't. So I wouldn't have paid him, but at the end of the day, I truly don't believe they had much of a choice because I don't know what's the alternative. We can sit here and say, hey, don't pay Joel, but where else are you going to go? What else are you going to do? Because you're not trading Joel Embiid. Without a doubt. I don't know if he's the best big in the league, but he's definitely one of the best bigs in the league.
I struggle with this idea of paying anybody $49 million a year. And I'm open to the fact that, again, guys like Steph Curry, that's a guy you pay. Mm-hmm. He's going to make $50 million a year. I totally get it. I understand it even because, he's won championships. He's an iconic figure in the NBA. But is Joel Embiid on that level? Is that a guy where you're like, oh, yeah, he's an iconic figure in the NBA who's won championships? No, he hasn't. He is the process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just think at some point the financial ramifications of these moves, they're going to come back to get you. And again, I'm not saying that it's one of these things where this is a terrible move or the world's coming to an end, because very clearly it is not.
Right.
But what I am saying is, at some point, the Rudy Gobert contract comes back to haunt you. This is one of those deals where you're paying Joel Embiid $49 million a year. Are you telling me you're going to make it through the life of that contract and you're going to be happy about it?
No way. I I can't even confidently say that they'll make an NBA Finals appearance through the life of that contract. There's just, if he's already getting hurt now at this age, what is he going to be when he's in his 30s? I can't imagine Joel Embiid playing till he's 35, So with this contract, at the end of the day, when you sign this guy, he's going to be hurt. You just know that. That's just part of the Joel Embiid process. This issue and this contract goes all the way back to them, drafting him and bringing them in and going through the process and all this stuff. So this issue and this conversation is not new, and it's going to continue to be had because when he's missing playoff games and he's hurt and he's not durable and everyone's going to hate on him. But then when he's hitting game winners and stepping back on Rudy, everyone's going to say he's the best big in the league. So, it is a give and take, and I just feel like at the end of the day, you don't have much of a choice. I really don't know what the alternative is other than if you're not going to pay him, then, you got to ship him out. You got to trade him. You got to trade him for picks and value and all that stuff. So they obviously weren't going to do that. So that's what you're left with, to pay the guy an absurd amount of money and hope for the best. Legitimately, that's what they're doing with this contract, is hoping for the best.
Well, and I also think, the other thing that comes to mind here is that this is why you signed Andre Drummond. I mean, and you got him at a pretty significant value. I think that Joe's going to miss games. And the question is Joel Embiid the reason you're going to win a championship? Well, if you do, he probably is, right? Because Ben Simmons isn't going to be there. And, frankly, I know that they signed, the Hummer in George Niang. Based on what he got paid, he's no longer a minivan. I said the Hummer.
The Hummer, right. Yeah, not the minivan anymore. It's not the side door on the minivan. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right, we get it.
George Niang is the Hummer.
Right. Uh-huh.
The H2.
Right. Yeah.
The G-Swagon.
Right. He's not a minivan anymore. He's graduated. We get it.
Anyway, the point is, work with me. The point is, I still would not have paid him this money. I don't. And the problem is, didn't you reach your max when Kawhi Leonard went 86 bounces off the rim and in to win Game 7? I like that. Is this the dagger? Yeah, exactly. That moment right there feels like that is the. That's where you are. That's who you are. It almost feels like, that was the penultimate moment for this franchise with the way that this thing is put together. So my question is, you still have not recovered from the Ben Simmons situation. You have done nothing, and you just handed Joel Embiid $49 million a season.
Yeah. I don't know what you're doing. That just tells me that you're going to trade Ben Simmons at some point. I think that has to be the plan, obviously.
I would hope so. I mean, I look at the other bigs around the NBA. Break down some bigs for me. Like Joel Embiid, where do you put him amongst bigs?
Yeah, I'd put him third. I mean, I think obviously right now Nikola Jokic is the best big in the league. I think there's a reason he won an MVP. I think, he can facilitate, he can score, he can play defense, he can do everything you want him to do. That's just as simple as it is. And he's pretty damn durable too, by the way. I think the second best big in the league is Anthony Davis. I think his offensive game is without a doubt the best of anybody on this list. His issue is injuries, just like Joel, right? He's missing time, can't stay healthy, his groin hurts, he can't, he can't do it. So we'll see. If he can stay healthy, that obviously elevates him. But when he's right, he's one of the best bigs in the league. After that, that's where I slide in Joel. Joel Embiid is a dominant player when he's on the floor. He can score, he can play defense, he wants to punish you. He's a mean-spirited guy on the floor, which I love. I definitely think that's a consideration. And then after that, that's where I would put Rudy, a guy that doesn't have almost any offensive game, but can win you games on defense. So that would be like my top four. I think, other guys that are like, sort of on the fringe, not really in the conversation, but could be in a couple years would be, I think DeAndre Ayton has potential, but I think he's soft. I think he is not a killer. I think he lacks some want to overall, but he's a good player. See, he's in that conversation. I think Karl Anthony Towns is a killer. He wants to win. He's just in a bad organization. So if he can get somewhere better, that's really going to help his case. But as long as you're a Timberwolf, you're not going to be in this conversation. And those are the guys that I would say are, in the conversation and on the fringe of the conversation.
Yeah, and I think when I think about the best big man in the league, the number one question to me is, okay, is Giannis a 4 or a 5? He's a 4. He plays the 4 there. I mean, obviously with Lopez in there, I hate that so much. Brook Lopez is their center. There's no doubt about that. So I don't think that Giannis is in this conversation. When we're talking about pure centers, I don't think there's any doubt that when healthy, and I think that's when you're comparing Joel Embiid, you have to do that. Anthony Davis is the best center in the NBA. I take him over Jokic. I think it's close. But for me, my top 5 would be Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Rudy Gobert would be in there somewhere.
Yeah. It's hard with Rudy because he doesn't do anything offensively.
It is hard with Rudy, and I think that's one of the things that so many people get upset about. I mean, when I look at production value and what does a guy mean to winning a championship, I can give the ball to Anthony Davis, low block outside. He showed you in the bubble 2 years ago that you can give him the ball with the game on the line.
Yep.
Joel, the same thing. I think Nikola Jokic, he's the NBA MVP for a reason. And then I think down to Rudy, there is a precipitous fall off. It is significant. Because I think in today's NBA, defense absolutely has value. There is no doubt about that. But I think when you look at the way that the big plays in the NBA today, it's more of guys like Giannis. It's more of guys like Julius Randle. It's more of those guys who play inside-outside games and can play the 3, the 4, or the 5, much like Nikola Jokic can play the 3, the 4, or the 5. So that's what I really struggle with. And the days of Shaq are gone. The days of Greg Ostertag are gone. So that, to me, very much limits the ceiling for Rudy Gobert. And I know this is frustrating to Jazz fans, and that's why we're not, that's why this conversation is not specific to Rudy Gobert. But when I look at the top 5 centers, I don't know that Rudy's in. He's certainly not in the top 3 in my mind.
No.
4 and 5, okay, we can have a discussion.
Yeah.
But
top 3 is not. He's not there. I mean, when you can't even shoot the ball, you're not. I mean, his only offensive game is setting screens and rolling. That's it. There's not any individual game, and everyone's going to say, well, look what he did with France. Well, what did he really do? I mean, what did he really do? They threw it to him and he got fouled. Okay? He couldn't make enough free throws to make it worth their time. And they end up losing the game because they stopped shooting 3-point shots.
And it's a tough conversation to have. I mean, if you look at the biggest contracts in the NBA right now, to put Joel Embiid in the James Harden conversation, in the Steph Curry conversation, man, that's awfully difficult. And I know that Harden has had a tumultuous couple of years, but in Brooklyn, he was unbelievable, and then he got hurt. So you paid him $40+ million to not play in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Kevin Durant, who should be one of the highest paid players in the NBA. There is no doubt in my mind that Kevin Durant is worth that money. But I look at some of the guys that are getting paid at the top of the league, and I say to myself, well, yeah, Giannis is worth it now because he won a ring.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying that guy $45 million?
Yeah.
Right? I look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry's getting $53 million.
He's earned that.
Luka Doncic.
Has not earned it.
Russell Westbrook.
Has not earned it.
Rudy Gobert.
Has not earned it.
That's, to me, that's what I'm talking about. Now, Joel Embiid at $48.98 million.
Hasn't earned it.
And if you just look at AAV, average annual value, I mean, Joel is number 2, Jimmy Butler number 3 at 48.7.
Yeah, but at least Jimmy can do things for you.
But it's not a championship caliber player yet.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there and they didn't win. That's why I say, like, Paul George making $44 million. That doesn't seem overpaid at this very moment in time.
No, I mean, he looks
right?
good. I mean,
that's crazy.
No one's going to blame Paul George for what happened in the postseason. That's on Kawhi,
So I look at Dame, and I'm like, and this is when we were talking about Dame coming to the Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
He's making $44 million to win what?
Yeah.
He hasn't won anything. Like, I look at that number. I look at James Harden at $42 million. That feels like a discount at this moment.
But he hasn't won anything.
No, he hasn't. But I look at Kevin Durant only making $41 million. Only.
Yeah.
He's way down there at $41 million.
Yeah, dude.
You really just paid Joel Embiid $49 million.
Yeah, because that's what he's eligible for. You don't have a choice. It's not like they have a choice to pay him 20.
Come on.
Come on.
So,
but seriously,
Anthony Davis is
what's
making
the choice?
$38 million.
What's the choice? Pay him or cut him? That's the choice.
Well, you're not. No, that's not.
You have to pay him or you have to let him go. There's no choice.
Okay, but A, it's when you pay him. B, it's how you structure that. It's not pay him or cut him. What the discussion is did you build your franchise around the right guy in Philadelphia? And my thought would be not for $49 million. You didn't.
Yeah.
He just does not play. Does he play 70 games a year?
No, probably not.
He probably doesn't. And to me, there's real value in that. I just think I just think the thing that comes to my mind is guys like, and Jimmy Butler is probably the best example of this. Jimmy Butler has shown us that he has evolved his game. He is a better teammate now. He's no longer that, that guy that just blows up your locker room like he did in Philly, like he did in Chicago. He's not that guy anymore, like he was in Minnesota. So, okay, I can handle the money he's making. I just don't know what you're doing. $49 million with Joel Embiid. Steph for $53 million, he makes you 5 times that probably every year, right? Yeah. Winning games off the court, he's fantastic. Sells merch, sells shoes, sells season tickets. Like he's making you that money back. Joel Embiid, somebody explain to me how that guy makes you that money back. Like, does he win you games at that level? He's proven he doesn't. Does he sell season tickets? I don't know. I've never once thought about, man, I got to get myself an Embiid jersey.
Yeah, well, I think, I think if you're a Philly fan, obviously,
right, but how many non-Warrior fans wear Steph stuff? A ton. How many Donovan Mitchell shoes are? I had a kid walk up to me in Costco the other day wearing Donovan Mitchell shoes.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying, I just don't like. To me, I just don't know what other option they had. That's the thing in this conversation for me. NBA teams get put in a position where, okay, we can sign this guy and overpay him, and be cool with him missing games, but be a postseason team because that's what they are. They're a postseason team every single year, and that definitely makes them money. But he's not proven to be a championship caliber player yet. So that's why I say when I say pay him or cut him, what I mean is that you're either going to pay him and sign him, which obviously they are. So you're either going to pay him and sign him and all that, or you're forced to start doing the whole, all right, what can we trade him and what value can we get back and what's the proper asking price and that whole thing. And that's really tough on its own as well. So it's like, hey, do you want to go to the playoffs every year and, probably not win a championship, but be a playoff team every year and kind of just that's who you are? That's probably a little bit better of a reality than trading your guys and, moving down in the stack. So that's why I say, to me, when I say pay him or cut him, that is reality-wise, in your day-to-day, that's kind of what you're looking at. I mean, that's the tough part. And it sucks to pay these guys, Mike Conley, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, all these guys, Steph early in his career, all these guys who get hurt but are awesome on the floor when they're on the floor. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like, you just deal with it. It's like, you just deal with it. And to your point, you sign guys like Andre Drummond to fill in the games when he can't play. So that's why I say, like, no, you're obviously not going to cut Joel Embiid, but that's basically what you're facing. You're either going to pay him or you're going to trade him.
Well, and I think the Jazz chose the pay him route.
Definitely. Right. And they were in an easier position. They had no commitment to Mike Conley. Nothing. You had nothing.
But I more look at Rudy Gobert. I mean, look, I understand you were over a barrel with Mike. Okay, I totally get that. You got a decent deal with Mike. Okay, I totally get that. With Rudy Gobert, you made an awful basketball decision. I mean, there was no reason to pay him that much money. None. You offered him low. He said, okay, I'm not taking that. I'm out. And you panicked and you paid him that $41 million a year. And now it's killing you. And the frustrating part is that, you have a new owner that essentially had to rubber stamp that deal because, well, he had just taken over the team. Mm-hmm. So it makes it a very tenuous situation. My point is when you pay a 7-foot center this much money, it had better be Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, and a little bit of Joel Embiid, I guess, because he actually can shoot, rebound, and run the floor. Mm-hmm. It's terrifying. If you're a Sixer fan, would you rather have Steph at 53 or Joel Embiid at 48?
Steph
49?
All day. I just don't even think it's. I agree with you on that. I don't think it's really that close. I mean, I think Steph has won you championships. Like, they've both been in the organizations, their respective organizations, for a long time. The difference is Steph has won championships. Steph has been the center of everything that they've done. Even in the Kevin Durant years, Steph was a huge thing. Steph was a big reason why. And so, I just think that Steph Curry, when you think Golden State Warriors, you don't think Klay Thompson, you don't think Draymond, you think Steph Curry. He's the guy there. So To me, when you've won championships, you've earned your contract. I have no problem with 50+ million for Steph Curry. None whatsoever. But the issue is Joel hasn't won anything. He's continued to be a disappointment. He's continued to be hurt.
Yes.
He's continued to eat hamburgers on the training table on the baseline before games. I mean, what are we doing? Like, how about you go and see a David Alexander? How about you go and see somebody and train your body and get it to a place where it's more durable? That's what you have to do. But he won't do it. So, I don't have any issues with Steph's contract.
No, neither do I. It's just the conversation's just interesting to me. That's all. I think, when I look at some of the other centers, I mean, there aren't a lot of impact centers right now. Let's be honest. If you just take it by, AAV, average annual value, I mean, it's Joel Embiid number 1, Rudy Gobert number 2, Karl Anthony Towns, but seeing like Cat's a guy who I think has been invisible. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it is because he plays in Minneapolis. And I just think he hasn't, he has not been able to get over because that team's just not going to win. Yeah. In my opinion. Now we'll see new ownership, what have you. But, then you fall down to Nikola Jokic at $29 million. Like Nikola Vucevic. Mm-hmm. I think he's a take it or leave it guy. I don't think he's a difference maker, in my opinion.
No, I mean, he has some nice moments, but he's not going to be the guy that puts you over the top. That's exactly right.
Don't forget about Jared Allen. $20 million a year.
Yeah, he got paid, dude. For a guy of his stature, he got paid.
Anyway, my point is, it goes from the haves all the way down to the have-nots. It's Rudy and Joel. I mean, who would you rather have? Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert?
Probably Karl Anthony Towns. It's an offensive league. The guy can score. He gives you more options on offense.
Yeah.
He's not anywhere close to the defender Rudy is. But I guess my mindset's always been that the NBA is not a defensive league. The NBA is a league of who can execute at a higher level offensively. They're going to win the game.
And I think it is definitely an offensive league. There's no doubt about that. I just, man. I'm trying to find ways not to talk about Rudy Gobert's contract, but
it's a chain around their neck. That's what it is. He doesn't deserve that contract. He's a $20 million player. It is what it is.
Well, and not to keep correcting you, but I think you deserve what somebody's willing to pay you because that's what you're worth. The Jazz were willing to. Dennis Lindsey.
Rudy Gobert found the one person on planet Earth that can pay him $40 million. So all credit to him. Nobody else in their right mind is paying him $40 million.
Okay, that I agree with. I don't think there's another GM in this league that had paid him that much money. So, I don't know. Do you expect the Jazz to be what they were last season, this coming season?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be pretty close, but the problem is that quality is not number 1 seed in the West anymore. That's the problem. So, last year, when everyone thought, oh my God, this is the year, we're going to win a championship, everything's awesome, we're the 1 seed, we're way better than the Suns, we're better than the Clippers, we're better than all these teams. Well, this year, that's not going to get you a number 1 seed. That's going to get you a 4 or 5 seed. Because I got news for you. The Lakers are better. The Clippers are better. The Suns continue to be the Suns. Denver's going to be better. Jamal Murray's going to be back. The Warriors are going to be better. So the West is now 5-6 teams deeper than it was last season because of all the injuries. So do I expect them to be what they were? That's 2 different answers. So one, on the floor, yeah, they're going to be the same team. They're going to play the same style of basketball. Everything's going to be the same. You're just going to have some new names that are coming off the bench, essentially. Yeah. In the standings, yeah, it's going to be a hell of a lot different. You're not going to be a 1 seed this year. You're going to be a 3 or a 4 seed, and you should be happy with that because you don't have 1 seed talent on this team. It's that simple.
Yeah, I think Golden State's one of the more interesting teams in the West. Mm-hmm. I could talk NBA all day. I could. I think Clay is ready to go.
I would hope so.
He wanted to play in the summer runs, and they basically said, please don't. Mm-hmm. He's ready to go. I mean, I think he is going to come out. It's tough to go from a knee to an Achilles and be the same guy. Mm-hmm. But technology and medicine has come so far.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect him to be ready. I mean, he's had 2 years. He's not been sitting around for 2 years, obviously, but he doesn't have 2 years of mileage on his legs from playing NBA games, So to
No.
me, he's going to be rested, ready. Hopefully, his body really should be healthy. It's just a matter of if he can hold up. That's really what it is.
That's it. I mean, the bigger question is how is he mentally?
Yeah.
And he's had so much time now to play ball on that Achilles and that knee that my guess is he's fine.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine mentally. So that's all that matters. It is one of those things that now, I mean, he essentially has had all the parts replaced, so the motor should be ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Klay Thompson, I'm ready. I just want tip off to get here. Like, let's go. Like, let's play. Let's go win a
It's been something
championship.
like 800 days.
Yeah, it's been like well over 2 years now that Klay Thompson. I mean, it's been since the Raptors Warriors finals.
Kevin Durant was still on the Golden State Warriors the last time Klay Thompson played a game.
Yeah.
It's been 800 days
Yes.
since Steph and Klay played together. I mean,
It's a long time, man.
you're going on 3 years. I mean, it's unbelievable.
So when we talk about Steph Curry's contract, he's earned it, dude. He's absolutely earned it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. All right, make sure you subscribe to our channel. When we get to 2,500 subs, we are going to give away a Traeger 650 Ironwood 650 smoker. Our smoker is currently sleeping very quietly in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Made some awesome pizza over the weekend. So yeah, we're going to give away a Traeger Ironwood. When we get to 2,500, all you have to do is take a picture, post it on social that you are subscribed, and then we will pick one winner. And yeah, we will give away a Traeger smoker. Hopefully it's in the state of Utah, down the street from us, because that thing is going to be $1 million if we have to ship it to Europe or Australia. James Knight, if you're listening, I hope you are not going to win the Traeger, because that would be unbelievable money.